Believe it or not, I have a love-hate relationship when it comes to YouTube. So I've been wanting to make this video for a very long time, and recently I was on Clubhouse. If you don't know about Clubhouse, download the app, especially if you have an iPhone. It's super great for all creatives to just connect and build with people who you probably wouldn't have been able to connect and build with before. But anyways, I was on Clubhouse, and the conversation, of course, of gear sparked up. And I've always thought this before, but this was just confirmation to create this video for you all. And it's essentially a venting video, but I feel like it's very important of a venting situation. But anyways, the conversation was around gear, and the reason why I have a love-hate relationship when it comes to YouTube is because I honestly feel like we give out false information to filmmakers who are really trying to get into the industry. Let me give you guys a backstory first. So I had a friend who was shooting on a 6300, and he shoots a lot of skate videos. He travels the world shooting skate videos, and he wanted to get more into docuseries type of content around skating, and which is great. I'm a skater. I love it. I love what he's doing. He's super dope. But he came to me one day, and he was interested in learning more information about cameras, and he was thinking about the Blackmagic 12K. 12K?
Drake?
Now, my mind was boggled at that point after he said that, and in my mind, I'm like, well, why would you want a 12K? There's so many other cameras. You could go to the Sony A7 III. You have a 6300. Go up in that world. You could go with the Blackmagic 4K or Blackmagic 6K. And it just kind of like made me really think about YouTube and the type of creators that these people are going to try to trust and gain information from. And I don't blame YouTube necessarily, but I think we just do a disservice for beginning filmmakers when they are going to YouTube as a YouTube university to learn and grow and trust in us to give them proper information. And so for me, I've always wanted to create my channel to be used as such, as an informational tool, to not just sell you on the camera or anything like that, but to really, for me, I didn't have any of this information growing up. And so for me, it was like, how can I really connect with new filmmakers and really give them proper information? And so I felt like with him saying he went on YouTube and a lot of these people were talking about the 12K and the image quality and how great it was. Mind you, this was when the 12K just came out, so I'm sure there was a lot of videos around it that kind of populated his YouTube. And so where he felt like he needed to have the 12K just to have good quality. And that's a misconception already, because it doesn't, yes, gear is important, but it's not the only important thing. And I feel like there's so many other cameras that he could have resulted to before even getting the 12K that would be just as great. Mind you, I don't even think he thought about everything else when it comes to buying a camera, which I don't feel like a lot of people on YouTube talk about when they talk about gear and they talk about cameras and they talk about all these amazing specs. But it's so much more than these amazing specs. It's, you know, what other additional accessories and equipment that you're gonna need to properly be able to even work with this camera. And not just that, your post workflow. For me, I edit all of my content. I am a freelance video editor, and so to me, that is so important. So is it gonna slow down my workflow? You know, you working with 12K files, you're gonna have to create proxies. Do you have a fast computer to deal with this? Do you have enough storage space to deal with this? Like, it's so much that comes with buying a camera that specs are not the only important thing. Honestly, they're not the most important thing. Like, people are still shooting on 1080 and creating great content with that. So for me, it just kind of made me think of YouTube as a whole and why I have a love-hate. Now, again, I don't fault anyone for this, but I think we can be better instructors when it comes to YouTube and having so many people follow us to make sure that we're giving all of the information to allow them to properly purchase the equipment that they need. And I think we don't ask enough questions. Like, we don't ask, what are you using this camera for? What computer do you have? What's your post workflow look like? What do you see yourself in the next 2 years? Because I think these are proper questions to ask if someone comes to you asking what camera to use. I don't believe in a best camera situation because I think it depends on what works for you. I had a Sony A7 III and I sold it for a Canon R6, and a lot of people might be like, why would you do that? But essentially, as a photographer, I felt like the Canon was a more hybrid camera for me. I like the Canon colors when it comes to photography more than the Sony. I like the ergonomics of the R6 more than the Sony a7 III. And so there's a lot of other things that don't get discussed as much as specs when it comes to YouTube. And so I just challenge, myself included, I challenge all of us YouTube creators to really properly give a little bit more information than specs. Let's think outside of that when we're trying to create videos to help all these filmmakers on what's a good camera, and not just this new camera came out, here are the specs. Is it the best camera? No, there's no best camera. So I just say all that to say, and yes, I'm venting, that this is why I really have a love-hate when it comes to YouTube. And I just hope that I can continue to make sure that my channel is evolving in a better direction to really help new filmmakers get more of an understanding of why shooting in general even matters. Like, it's so much more than business and all of this, but we're creatives and we're born to create, and with that, it's so much deeper. It's purpose involved. And so hopefully my channel is kind of showcasing that. It's just more than gear itself, but really trying to allow you all to be the best filmmakers that you can be. I became known on Instagram as the girl who knew how to create amazing content with little to no gear, because I never had money to get the gear that most of the YouTubers talk about. I never had the sponsorships to get the gear that most of these YouTubers are talking about. So I've always had to work with what I had, and I've been able to create amazing content and get hired even for the little that I had, the little gear. I started with a T2i, moved to a 7D, moved to a Mark III, and then I ended up getting a 6300, which most of the stuff on my website was shot on. Then I moved to the a7 III, and I just recently actually got the Blackmagic. I've used the C200 for my job, you know, so I've used so many different cameras, and they've all been able to produce the quality that allows me to be consistent with my brand. So it does not matter specifically the actual camera that you have. Specs are not the only thing that is important. Please, we have to do better at giving all the information so we can accurately help these individuals who look at YouTube as an inspiration and motivation to keep shooting, keep creating, and further develop their eye as filmmakers. So that's all I just wanted to say. That's honestly the only reason why I have a love-hate when it comes to YouTube. And I'm hoping that my YouTube channel is the thing that breaks the mold, even though I don't talk about gear as much. I just talk about real life situations and what works for me. So that was all of the video. Hope you guys liked it. If you did, definitely give it a like. If you have any questions or you agree or disagree, let me know why in the comments below. Make sure you share this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Bye.